alive. I never know what I'm doing. There. Can you see, Michelle? I'm alive. Are we streaming? Are we streaming? Are we streaming?
Yes, you are going live.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as you all know, is standing right by my right side here, actually tickling my face because we're having fun today. Good morning to Michelle, of course. Say hi, Michelle. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Do you know, I was looking for Cachorro. I looked into the corner to see if I could see Cachorro because I do like to mention him, and I do like to, because if he could talk and if he knew what we're doing, of course he really does, he would want to join in. He'd at least want to say good morning to you. But actually, he's at the grooming house today, so he's not here. He's going to get chopped, shampooed, nails cut. I could do with one of those myself. I think maybe a visit to the beauty. I hate beauty salons. Does anybody else out there listening despise beauty salons as much as I do? Because I avoid them at all costs. I am so grateful that I never have to have my hair coloured because, just thinking about sitting, and I'm really pleased my daughter cuts my hair. See, I've got it all down. The only place I do go to is to go and have a pedicure. I'm rambling again, aren't I? Why am I rambling? So I can see that we've got a few people on, right, Michelle?
We do.
If you have problems, trouble, difficulty of any kind while you're watching this, or if it cuts off or what have you, please would you let us know, because this is a new thing for us. So we want to make sure that it's working beautifully. We streamed our story time on Saturday, and that worked beautifully, right, Michelle?
It was wonderful.
We're having a few glitches with it, I have to say. We're trying to break down some of the stuff that we're doing. We're trying to get Michelle to the point where she doesn't have to look at how many computers have you got there, an iPad and a computer, and I've got my iPad. There's got to be an easier way, right? There's just got to be an easier way. Right now, does the spirit world see all? Because that is, after all, the title of this show. Does the spirit world honestly really see all? All I can tell you, and many of you have heard me say this before, years and years and years ago, many years ago, when I first began this work and I first started to realize just exactly how much the spirit world could really see, I started using bubble bath in my bath water. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have x-ray vision. Of course, the bubbles in the water aren't going to do a thing. And honestly, who really has the time, the energy or the interest to see me wallowing about in the bath? But it made me feel better, even though I knew they could see me anyway. And I've got to get out of the bath naked, and I've got to wrap a towel around myself. So does the spirit world really see all? And the answer is yes, but don't get upset if you're worried about your privacy, because really and truly, they do actually have better things to do. It just made me feel better, and it made me feel more comfortable, and it made it so that I could feel that I could soak in the bath and not have to dip in and out quickly. I'm rambling again, right? I am rambling again. So, Michelle,
Good morning.
We've got lots of people coming on. Hopefully, we're going to have lots of questions from all of you. We did have a couple actually, of very interesting questions. Are we going to start the ball rolling with a couple of the questions that we got from
Email?
The email?
Yes.
So I think one was from Albertine, was it not?
The very first one is from Albertine.
So Albertine, we're picking you first. We had this, and I found this to be an interesting question. I think most people would like to know the answer to your question. So Michelle.
Okay, so
off you go.
Albertine's question is, now that my father is dead and my mother was passed in 1993, she was not so nice to my father. Now they both are in heaven. Is she lovely to him now?
I actually really like this question. So basically the question is, if a couple is married, they might have been together for 10 years, 50 years, however long, and they've stayed together throughout that marriage. You do have, we are, we're human. We all of us have our little foibles. And sometimes, you see people who, they're together, but you wonder why, because they're snipping at each other or they're arguing, or you can obviously tell one person doesn't like the other person. It's all the dynamics of relationships going on. Does that change when we're in the spirit world? So as Albertine's mother passed first, and then several years later, your father passed, right, Albertine? What you're saying is, because they didn't get on, because your mother was actually mean to your father, has she learned? Is she nicer to him now? What happens in those relationships? Well, there are a variety of things that can happen. The first is that just because you're married to somebody, even if it's for 50, 60 years, doesn't mean that you have to then, once you've passed, that you have to go back into that relationship. So there are choices. We have choices about where we go, and we have choices about the people that we want to be around and the people we want to meet. I was actually sort of talking about my own parents, and my father, to many, many people, seemed to be the villain of the piece because he was tough. He was an army man. He was very tough. He was very tough on discipline. And I was telling Michelle, I remember one time going to a place that my mother worked at, and I was walking down the steps to go out of the place, and a lady came running after me, a young lady came running after me, and she said, "Excuse me," she said, are you Lil Edward's daughter? And I said, "Yes, I am." And I'm thinking, I'm cringing because I'm not sure what's coming next. And she said, "Oh, you're so lucky. Your mother is so wonderful. She's so sweet. She's so nice." And I'm so puzzled, thinking, does she have the wrong person? Is this my mother she's talking about? People see different sides. People show different sides, because I can tell you that this woman said she's like the mother I never had. Well, she was like the mother I wish I never had. And I know that some of you out there are listening thinking that's a terrible thing to say, because there are so many people out there who don't have mothers. Is it better to have a mother who is brutal, mean, spiteful and cruel than never have a mother at all? I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. But we see different sides of people, and you never quite know the truth of a thing. It's all very well for us to judge. You can go to somebody's house and you can see a couple who are really, maybe the husband is mean to the wife or vice versa, and you make your judgments. But be careful, because I've always said, my mother was always sweet and wonderful on the outside, and anybody looking in would think that my father was the brute. But actually, behind closed doors, people change. So please don't ever judge. What am I looking at here? Oh, right. Am I getting this? Sorry, we just had a notification. Cachorro's ready. He's ready for pickup, but we're not going to pick him up now. So getting back to the situation, right? So, be careful, because behind closed doors, you might be having a whole different story. And Albertine, I'm not suggesting that this is the case, but you never know, why was your mother so mean to your father? Behind closed doors, he might not have been nearly as nice to her as you thought he was, or vice versa. So just be careful. Just know that when we pass into the spirit world, there's nobody forcing us to go back into situations that we would rather not go back into. When I go into the spirit world, will I want to see my mother? I don't know. Probably not. Will I have to? Probably not. It might be that Gregor says to me, maybe maybe it would be a good thing. I don't wish my mother ill in any way. I really, really hope that she's happy, because she was never happy in this life. which is such a sad thing, isn't it? So I wish her well, but don't worry, because so many people out there. I have a friend of mine whose father was seriously, physically, in every way abusive to her, broke her leg, broke her collarbone, broke her arm, aside from all of the sexual abuse that was rained upon her. And one of the things that she was so terrified about when he died was that, well, would he come and visit her? Or when she dies, would she have to go back to him? No, 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 no. We have choices. So, Albertine, your father and your mother will have choices. So let's hope that they can at least be nice to each other and to be kind to each other, because that's what we're striving for. Moving on. Next question.
Moving on is from Annie.
Hi, Annie.
And Annie said, Rosemary, I'm so stressed. My mom just had a knee replacement, and I'm taking care of her.
Oh, dear.
I had to go to the bank and ask for a loan. Rosemary, will I get through this?
I'm going to check with Gregor here, because, obviously I want to say yes to you, don't I? Of course I want to say yes to you. I am going to say yes to you. Gregor is saying yes to you, Annie, but it'd be a bit of a struggle for a while. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It might be a little bit longer tunnel than you think. It might be just a little bit darker than you would hope that it would be, but there is a light at the end, and yes, you will get through it. And this is difficult. Pain, hurts, struggles are a gift to us if we look at it that way. They really are. I'm sure there's a lot that you can learn from this. I'm sure there's a lot you can learn from this about your own self and about your own strength. Remember, kindness applies not just to all of those who are around you, but kindness applies to you too. So I'm going to suggest that in order to help you to help yourself a little bit, why don't you have a weekly treat? Get yourself some chocolates, or buy some nice perfume, or go visit a friend, or take a walk in the park, or do something nice for you. And don't forget to be kind to you, my darling. Right. Yep. She's bracing herself, everybody.
I am. Isabel.
Hi, Isabel.
Made a comment on one of the Facebook Lives. And it says, I've read one of your books, The Eagle and the Rose, but why today is one consultation with you so expensive? Only rich people can pay. The spirit world agree? And I've never heard or seen that before, and I don't understand. And she actually put the cost in there.
Well, that's all right. I don't mind people knowing how much I charge. Okay. If you go to a doctor or a therapist or anybody at all, you have to pay. If you have a consultation with me, unfortunately, not everybody pays. That does not mean you can apply and say, I can't afford this, so therefore, you have to understand. First of all, we've had this discussion, haven't we, Michelle? Many times. As much as I would love to do everything that I do without charge whatsoever, I have bills to pay. I have a house to see to. I have food to buy. What do you think? Who do you think is going to provide those things for me? I do not have a husband. I do not have a partner. I do not have a provider. So, this is my way. However, and I do understand, and I do see your point. I do, really. But what I try to do, for instance, we don't charge for this show. For story time, we don't charge. Al and I, we do our Everything is Attitude show. We don't charge. We take questions. We try to give people as much as we can. There are so many things. Healing, I never charge for healing, ever. I've never charged for healing. So I do understand where you're coming from, but I try to balance it out so that those people who are sick, those people who need healing, they don't have to worry about coming to me and having to pay for healing. It's given freely, as it should be. However, there's one area that I have to pick. I have to choose to make money in one area, and this is the area that I choose to make money. Also, over a period of time, if you look at the amount that I charge, in the scheme of things, it's really very little. And most people can afford it if you save up, if you stop eating that extra loaf of bread, you know it's putting weight on anyway. If you stop smoking or you cut down on your cigarettes, there are ways to manage Christmas time, birthdays, ask people for, you know, some money towards a consultation. It also is a point with me that, look, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, read cards for you or crystal balls or stuff like that. What I do requires a great deal of time and a great deal of energy. Now, I tell you, and you will see, that a consultation lasts for 50 minutes. Michelle. She's laughing at me. So, because I actually, if I have a consultation, I will put at least 3 hours to one side. Not necessarily it's going to take 3 hours. Occasionally it's actually taken longer, but I've never done a 50-minute consultation in my life, and I'm not trying to justify what I'm doing here, please understand, because I think that the price for what is given for for all of the things that are available without cost, I think it's a fair price, and I think it's a good area to make those charges. And that's the end of that. So I'm so sorry. But, darling, if you want a consultation, I always think if you want something, no matter what it is, you'll find a way. And if it just simply means saving up, putting pennies away each week, then you'll do it. Whatever it is. Yes, Michelle, what?
We also offer payment options.
Yes, we do offer payment options too. So that's the end of that. We don't want to discuss that any further. You know, there we go. Moving on.
Okay, well, the next one we have is Valvacious, and this one's coming from YouTube.
Morning, Valvacious.
It says, if we have spirit guides for protection, how come people get hurt in car accidents and etc.?
Well, we're back to spirit guides again. We have our angels who guide us, who steer us, and who protect us. We have our loved ones, our family and our friends in the spirit world who guide and help and protect us. How come these things do happen? Well, we don't always listen, do we? We're not always in tune with what we're being told. Very often, Gregel has said to me, you know, as I'm driving in the car and I'm about to turn right, and he'll say to me, no, you need to turn left. I have a choice. I can listen or not listen. Now, I know that most of you do not have the ability to hear that, but if we learn to use our intuition and we learn to use our senses and our sensitivity, we can actually save ourselves a great deal of pain and a great deal of heartache if we were to just listen and to pay attention. But we also have a free will. We are given a free will, so we choose to listen or not to listen, or we choose to do stuff. Sometimes, though, you know, pain is given to us as a gift. It's a hard concept. I know that it's such a hard concept, but I've seen it happen so many times that pain is actually given to us as a gift, and it's tough. It's a tough reality, but there it is. But a lot of the time, my darling, we can actually. You're right, Valvacious. We can, if we think about it, if we listen, if we pay attention to our intuition, and if we pay attention to that little voice in our head that's saying slow down or you know, go right instead of left and so on, and if we pay attention to those things, we can avoid. But we're human. I cannot begin to tell you how many times Gregel has shouted at me, and because I've wanted to do something, or because, hey, just because. Why? Because I'm being a bit defiant in that moment in time. I don't listen. I always regret it. I always regret not listening to him. He's laughing at me. But, you know, we're human. We have our human faults and failings. There you go. Next one.
It's actually from the same person. It's just the second part of it.
Okay.
And Valvacious would like to know, can Grey Eagle tell you who killed, like, John Bonet Ramsey?
yes, if we are involved, and I actually was involved a little bit in that case, and that's a story for another day, but I was involved, and I was invited by the family to help them. That's as much as I'm going to say about that at the moment, because it's a tricky one and it's a long story, and it's maybe not my story to tell. Okay, moving on.
Connie is on.
Yes, good morning, Connie.
And she says, hello, Rosemary. Can you tell me if our house will sell quickly? I've been feeling so confused lately and not sure if we are making the right move. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, that's tough. I'll tell you something about houses, and it's so true. Now, somebody told me this, right? I have my house in Vermont on the market for a long time, quite a long time. And somebody said to me, if you get a little statue of, I think it was St. Joseph, and you dig a hole in the garden and you bury him in the garden upside down, I know it's weird, your house will sell. And you just, as you're burying it, you say, please, can you help me sell my house? All right. Now, so I did it. I thought, well, I'll have a go at this. And within a month of me doing that, my house was actually sold. Was it coincidence, or did it really help? I'm just saying, you know, you might want to try that. It will sell in its right time. I do think you need to stop worrying a little bit. I mean, change is always a little bit nerve-wracking. But I think, you know, I think you'll do the right thing. And don't worry about the house. It'll sell when it's the right time for you. Yes.
Amy is on.
Hi, Amy.
She says, love you so much, Rosemary.
Aww.
Thank you for all you do. Her question is, does the spirit world see sexual differences preferences? I am a lesbian and have had many readings over the years, and no one has ever mentioned this side of my life. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. I think that we humans, who's this, Amy?
Amy.
Amy. We human beings, don't we love to put labels on ourselves? I'm heterosexual, I'm lesbian, I'm gay, I'm a cross-dresser, I'm black, I'm white, whatever. The bottom line is that the soul has no colour and no gender. So you are who you are. Embrace who you are. The spirit world will do that, absolutely. I've got 2 sisters who are lesbian. I've got friends who are gay. I never actually, until you pointed out, I never think, oh, yeah, you know, my sister's a lesbian. It's just my sister's my sister. Amy, you are who you are. Embrace who you are. It's not about sexual orientation. It's not about colour. It shouldn't be about any of those things. Your soul has a purity and a beauty. Work on that. Work on feeding that. That's all that matters. Yep.
Annie has a follow-up question.
All right, Annie.
She would like to know if you see this loan coming through for her.
Okay, we're moving on. I already said it'll work out. We love you. We do. Yes, keep going.
Okay, so from YouTube.
Yeah.
The username is SN.
Okay.
There's no real name.
That's right.
It says, hi, Rosemary. Lovely to meet you.
And you.
It says, my baby died before he was born. He was around 7 weeks old. I can't function since. It's been 3.5 years, and I have deep PTSD. Can my baby feel my pain, and will I see him again?
Yes and yes. I think many of you might have heard me say this before. Prior to having my daughter, I had 3 miscarriages, and after I had 2, possible 3rd. I know exactly where you're coming from. But here's the thing. We have choices. It seems to me that you are so desperate. I know, because I've been there. I can remember the tears that I cried and the pain that I felt in losing these little ones. So I'm not making light of it, but our loved ones in the spirit world, they do watch us, they do feel our pain, and they do feel our grief. And so that, therefore, in my mind, that makes us responsible. So as a mother, and yes, you will see him again, as a mother, you need to just understand that it's your job to make him feel the best he can feel. So you need to really work on how you're feeling, my darling. I know it's easy for me to sit here and say it. You think I've not been through it, but I have. But you've got to work on feeling better, from being more positive and being more out there. And you've got to work on laughing more. For our loved ones in the spirit world, they need to see us living our life the best that we possibly can. Okay?
Carlos has a question.
Hi, Carlos.
And it says, how can I follow my path? Which is the message from Grey Eagle? Thank you.
You are doing pretty well, Carlos. You are following your path. You're doing pretty well. And from Grey Eagle, who's put his hand on my shoulder, I don't know why he's giving you a message here, but here we go, Carlos. The message from Grey Eagle is, work at being more who you are within, and you'll get there. And you'll have help, apparently. So there you go. Yep.
Miss Ellis is on.
Good morning, Miss Ellis.
And she says, my life has changed. I was a caregiver to my mom, and it seems like I can't find work or love.
Oh.
I do energy work to open the spirit. Just need someone wiser and objective.
Well, little Ellie, I'm going to call you little Ellie. Can't call you Miss Ellis, can I? I'm too friendly for that. So, little Ellie, I think that you're trying too hard in one way, but not trying hard enough in another. You need to get yourself out and about. Life will not come to you. And I think that, it's all very well going to meditation classes. It's all very well trying to, work on developing your own self. But you need places where you can have fun, where you can find joy, and you need to put yourself out there. And I know that's a hard thing to do. I know it is. But you can do it. And once you start to do that, you'll find your life will blossom tremendously. Next, Michelle.
The next one is from Betta.
Morning, Betta.
Her real name is Elizabeth, and she lives in Italy. Says, my husband Luca lost his parents over 20 years ago. I wondered if they were close to him and if they protect him. And then she asked if they have a message for him. Thank you.
So this one's for Grey Eagle, because we already were talking about choices, and when we pass in the spirit world, we have choices, and those choices can sometimes mean that we're done with this earth world and we leave everybody behind in it. But actually, I think I can tell you, okay, this is from Grey Eagle, Betta, that your husband is very well loved, not just by his parents, but by all of his family in the world, in the spirit world. Very well loved. And what was the next question? Do they have a message? Yes, they will see him again, but not yet. But when it's his time, they'll be waiting. So how nice is that? Next.
Donna is on.
Morning, Donna.
And she has 2 questions.
Okey.
She says, do we really plan our lives before birth? And do we have a soul group? Is that a true theory?
Well, it's not a theory. It's a fact. That soul group thing is a fact. If you've read soul signs, you will absolutely know that you need to read soul signs, because that'll tell you which soul group you are in. There are 5 main soul groups. And then within each group, there are 3 main soul signs, 3 different types of soul within each group, which makes it something like 13 in all. Yeah, that's 13, because one of those groups, well, is different. Trust me, there are 13 soul types. So yes, we do have a soul group. Read Soul Science, my love. It'll explain it all. And do we plan our lives before we come here? As far as I can gather, remember, you know, I'm not all knowing and all seeing, but as far as I can remember that I've been taught, and as far Gradle is nodding at me here, so I've got this one. What we do prior to our birth here, we discuss and figure out the things that we need to learn, that we feel that we need to learn, and the ways that in which we need to grow. We have people who know more than us, who are more knowledgeable than us, who will help us as well. And at that point, prior to us coming here, we are placed into an environment which gives us the ability and the opportunities to learn and grow in the ways that we wanted to. So I'm not sure that we choose what we're going to do. We trust in a higher power to do that for us. But having decided how we want to learn, how we want to grow, the lessons that we're looking for in this experience of life, then from there we can be placed in the right environment. Yeah. Next.
Karen would like to know.
Hi, Karen.
When we pass to the spirit world, is it true that we can only go to that frequency which we are? Meaning if a person is fearful or a negative frequency before transitioning, they stay in that state?
No, absolutely not true. I don't know who told you that. Who is this person who's calling? Give me that lovely person's name.
Karen is the one that asked that question. She wanted to know if it was true.
I love the question because I can now say, no, it's not true. No, absolutely not. No, it's like saying if we're depressed prior to our leaving here, then we go to people who are depressed. Not true at all. No. We go to a place where we can be filled with light, where we are enlightened, where we can work on ourselves, where we can find joy and happiness. Those are all of those choices. So no, don't. I don't know who told you that, Karen, but absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. Yeah.
Cheryl.
Yes, Cheryl.
Said, my mother had kids adopted out from a previous marriage. She never got over it. I'm wondering if she sees all of us from the other side, the other children as well as me and my sister.
How fantastic. What a fantastic question. That's fabulous. Now, I know that she does because I've spoken to many people in the spirit world who were in the same situation. Their children were taken away from them for whatever reason, or they were given up, or whatever happened. And that bond that we have with that child, if we want to connect with that child, wherever they are, whether they know us or whether they don't know us, the amount of times I've been able to bring people together from the spirit world with those of us who are still here, and to say, you know, this exact thing that you're talking about. You know, I have a lady here. She says she's your mother, or depending on how it goes. Or I've got a lady here who is watching you and just wants you to know that she's watching you and watching over you. So I know that your mother will absolutely have the opportunity to find her other children and to watch them and to you know, sort of be a part of their lives. If that's what she chooses to do. So that fabulous question. Love that question. Yes.
The next one is a comment from Nathan.
Nathan, good morning.
And he says, dear sister Rosemary, I just want to again thank you and Grey Eagle for all you do and all you have done. Thanks, Salam.
Thank you, Nathan. That's so nice of you to say that. Appreciate it. Yes. Our streaming seems to be working really well, right?
Yeah, I have a whole lot going on right now.
Keeping our fingers crossed it's going to continue.
Heidi says,
hi.
I have been struggling with insomnia for months. I keep thinking that it's because I'm feeling a spiritual shift in my life. Any suggestions or thoughts?
Yes, you definitely need, and I don't often push my own products forward, but you need to get the guided meditation. The Journey Towards Healing is the one that you need. that will help you. It will totally cut out your insomnia, I can assure you. And just listen to that prior to going to bed. Not, I'm not suggesting you go to sleep with it, although you can if you want to, but you need to listen to that 2 or 3 times a day, and that will help you to relax. It will get rid of any of the anxieties or the worries or the concerns, and it will certainly help you to adjust to any of the spiritual changes that are going on within you. So you can find that on Amazon, on YouTube. I'm going to say it again, and I'm pushing. It's not. I don't think it's an expensive product, is it?
No.
So just go to Amazon or YouTube, or anybody out there who's having anxiety issues. I would recommend. We have 4 or 5 of the guided meditations that are out there. 4. So we've got A Journey Towards Healing, The Heartbeat of the Soul.
Not perfect yet still beautiful.
Not perfect, but yet still beautiful, which is one of my favorites.
And A Garden of Souls.
And A Garden of Souls. So we have those 4 guided meditations that are out there. You can get them very easily on Amazon or on iTunes or any of those places where you can get music.
We also offer discs.
And, pardon?
We also offer the CDs.
We do. We also have the CDs themselves. If you would like one, you need to email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. And, we have plenty here. So if you'd actually like the hard CD, we have those as well. But that's what you need to do, my darling. Try that. And please let me know how you do with it, would you? Okay, next.
Sue said,
good morning, Sue.
It is so important that you never compromise your value. I'll be scheduling time with you when I get off my lazy butt and figure out how to use Skype. LOL.
And Sue, get off your lazy butt. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Okay, next.
Darlene said, I've been wanting to talk with you over 25 years since I lost my husband. I only need something to hold on to.
Well, email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. If any of you want to know more about a consultation with me, please, again, email me and put consultation in the subject line, and then we'll definitely set up a time. Michelle can set up a time. It would be lovely if there's anybody out there listening who has already had a consultation with me, to let people know of their reactions and responses, good or bad. All right, I'm open. But I'm saying that because I'm pretty sure that I can't remember the last time I didn't do what we promised to do, thanks to the spirit world, by the way, not to me. But once you've had a consultation with somebody who's real, who's somebody who knows what they're doing, it honestly is worth it, and it's so eye-opening, and it can really change your life. Don't you agree, Michelle? You've seen this happen again and again, right? So if anybody out there has had a consultation, just wants to help Sue to get off her butt, and just let us know, how did you do if you had the consult? How was it for you? All right. Yes.
Okay. So, Valvacious has another question.
Okay.
And it says, if the soul has no gender, color, or sexual orientation, why does the Bible, meaning God, talk about homosexuality being wrong? Why would he even mention this?
Which Bible would you be referring to? And do you know how many Bibles there are out there? It reminds me of the story of the old lady who went into the bookstore, and she said to the young man behind the counter, I want to buy the Bible. And the guy said yes. And he started to list some of the different Bibles, some of the different editions, and written by different people. And she got so mad, and she slapped her hand down on the counter, and she said to him, I want the Bible that God wrote. Just for your information, my darling, and Valvacious, I do understand where you're coming from here. God did not write the Bible. Oh, is that blasphemy? Did I say something terrible? God did not write the Bible. several men sat around a table. You notice there were no women there either, because the Bible would have been a whole different book had it been written by women. It was also written in a language which has no vowels. I don't know if you know that. So when they refer to the Red Sea, it's only somebody's interpretation. It could have been the Red Sea. Actually, what it was not the Red Sea. It was the Sea of Reeds, because the river that they're talking about is totally the whole of the bed of this river is reeds, completely and utterly reeds. So be careful, because as much as we, and I have read the Bible, I love a lot of the stories. I prefer the New Testament to the Old Testament, but that's just my preference. Nevertheless, these were stories that were taken, and it's not the whole story either, because lots and lots of things were left out of the Bible, because these men who sat around this table deciding what people should hear and what people shouldn't hear. I remember in the days when, you know, the religious men and the scholars were those who dictated what people thought, what people read, and what people believed. God did not, as much as we would love to think that he did, God did not write the Bible. Men wrote the Bible, men with their own interpretations, which is why we have so many different editions and different types of Bible. I mean, there's the St. James, there's who knows, anyway. There are so many different ones. So I can't remember what the question was now, what was in the Bible. Why is it so wrong, homosexuals? Well, because there were some narrow-minded men who sat around a table deciding what people should or should not believe, and if they didn't like it, then it was wrong for everybody. So please, when we're looking at this, please, everybody out there, please use your common sense and just understand that, you know, in the days before everybody was educated, in the days before people went to school, in the days when only the rich or the scholars knew anything at all, the people of the church ran whole communities, whole countries, and luckily we are much more enlightened today. Yep, that might cause some controversy. I might be condemned for what I just said there, because I know some people will think I'm being blasphemous when I say that God did not write the Bible. But, you know, as far as I'm aware, of course I don't know everything, but God doesn't have a pen, he doesn't have a computer, and he doesn't sit down and write anything. It's men who claim to be speaking the word of God, claim to.
All right,
Yeah.
The next one is from SN.
You're laughing at me, right?
I am not laughing at you. I think that what you said makes sense to me. So
okay,
it makes sense to me.
Okay.
SN has...
We'd love to know your name.
Her name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
But I didn't want to say Sarah because then you wouldn't relate it with the previous question that she had asked.
Okay, I send Sarah.
Okay, so Sarah said, my husband and I were very happy. He became rich and famous, had an affair, and dropped me like a hot brick.
Oh.
He took everything away from me literally while he was climbing higher. I'd like to know if I'll ever see justice for this. And she said it's because she'd like to let you know that her husband forced her into an abortion, not a miscarriage. That this is the most important entity he took from me from within.
Oh, my darling. Well, this happens much more than you could ever imagine, you know, not just with men, with women as well. It happens, you know, people get sidetracked, or they ditch their wives or husbands for something that they think is better, but it isn't necessarily better. My first piece of advice to you, you're not going to like me for it, but I'm going to tell you anyway, my first piece of advice is you need to let go of this, because let me tell you something. This man is not worth it. Absolutely not worth one more second of your time, your energy, your thoughts. You are much more than ever he is. You're much more beautiful than ever he is. You are a good person inside. It's just so hard to let go when you see somebody seemingly successful and you've been left on the sidelines. Yes, I get it, and I know. I understand how you can be angry, but really and truly, He is not worth you ruining your life for, and you are ruining your life if you're holding on to the anger and the bitterness. So please, I'm saying this, you know, in the gentlest and the nicest way. If you could just, why would you even want him in your mind or your life or anywhere? Ooh, no, thank you. We don't need that kind of a person in our lives. The second issue that I'm going to address is, which you may find difficult to understand, but your husband did not take this baby away from you. You may have felt coerced, you may have felt forced, or what have you, but it would not have happened if it were not meant to happen. There are some souls who decide that they only want a moment in the womb. They want to experience the womb. There are some souls who want to take that breath, that first breath, and experience the breath of this earth of ours, and that's all they want to do. But it's the choice of the soul to continue or not continue. So try not to beat yourself up, my love, and try not to, you know, let the anger with your really not so nice ex-husband, try not to let the anger and the bitterness destroy you. You need to drop him like a hot potato. Poof. Why would you want someone like this in your life? Move on. You've got so much more that you can do, and you're so much better than this. There you go. Right.
Mary Ann says she just wants to thank the spirits for just being so good and patient with her. She says that she thinks that we forget to do this.
Yes, who is this?
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann. Thank you for that. It's so true. You know, I often tell people, you know, when I go out and about, I always ask for a car parking spot. I always say to Greg, can you find me a parking spot? And it works every single time. You know, you go into a crowded, packed car park, there's not a space inside, and just as you're pulling up, somebody's pulling out. I always ask, and usually I get, but I always say thank you. And I always say to friends of mine, you know, ask whatever it is that you want, you can ask for it. If it's meant to be and if it's good for you, then you will get it. But always say thank you. Try and remember to say thank you. So Marianne, good job. Yep. Next.
Desiree said, my mother passed.
Hi, Desiree.
7/12 of 17. Did she know I was there before she died, and is she happy now?
So, Desiree, I'm not sure that this is your mother. I think that this is your mother that we're talking about. I know that she suffered quite a bit, not emotionally as well. Her life was a bit of a struggle, apparently, from what I'm being told, from what Greg is telling me. You were always in her heart, you're always in her thoughts, and yes, she did know. Your energy surrounded her, and apparently her energy surrounds you now. So how nice is that? So she's with you, my lovely. Yep.
The next one is, hi, Rosemary.
Sorry, Greg was just, I forgot the.
That's okay.
I forgot the. Sorry, and yes, the answer is yes. She is happy. Sorry, it's a good thing I've got Greg reminding me here. Go ahead.
Okay, so the next one is from Curat, and it says, hi, Rosemary. I just got a job in another city away from home. I'm very confused if I should take and make this move. If I do, will it be good for me? Thank you.
You know, change is always scary. It is always scary. But Greg tells me you've been searching for a job that is right for you for quite some time. So sometimes, you know, you have to allow the winds of heaven to dance between you and your fate. In other words, just move forward with it. Let the fates take you where they will. Have a little faith. Have a little trust. What is the worst thing that can happen? Oh, the job doesn't work out. But the experiences that you'll have along the way, the people that you will meet, the experiences that you will have will be worth the change. Change is actually really scary, but it can be really, really good. So, you know, don't be afraid to leap. Take that leap of faith. You're not going to end up on the rocks below. Your body's not going to be dashed to smithereens. It's all an experience. It's called life. It's all experience. You know, I think of the amount of opportunities that I've been given over the years. And the first time I was invited to go to Hong Kong, and I don't know about that. It was a completely alien thing to do. And I was very nervous about doing it and almost didn't do it. In fact, tried to find different excuses why perhaps I shouldn't go, because, you know, this was my first tentative step, sort of further than, you know, the sort of those countries closer to England. And I have to say it was one of the best things I ever did. If you don't try, you don't know. Be adventurous. Don't be afraid. Be adventurous. Yep, next.
Twiggy Leaf.
Hi, Twiggy Leaf.
Says, hi, Rosemary. Been wondering a lot, why does a soul split? What is the cause or reason for a soul to split into two individuals?
I don't get the question. I don't know where you're getting the idea that a soul splits. If you're thinking of twins, each twin has its own soul. The egg splits, the soul does not. Each soul is a soul. So I'm not sure where you're getting the information that the soul splits, my lovely, because as far as I'm aware, I'm checking with Gregor, no, it doesn't. So maybe you can tell me where you're coming from with that, or what you actually mean by that question.
All right. We have Georgia, and she says, hello, Rosemary.
Good morning, Georgia.
Sorry for my English. I lost my father last August, and I want with all my heart to talk or to see him. Is it possible for you? With love.
Usually I say that every time, don't I? Mm-hmm. Usually we don't do this on this show, but actually then we end up doing it anyway. Georgia, I'm so sorry, first of all, for your loss. I do have a gentleman standing next to Grey Eagle who, although he was sick for some time, when he passed, he went really very suddenly, very quickly. It's almost as if he passed sort of, even though he must have known that he was sick, it's almost like he passed out of the blue. It was such a shock. So I'm not sure if this is your daddy, but I have a feeling that he wants to say hello to you. He sends his love and kisses to you. Grey Eagle is laughing, has his arm around this man. I think that not only are you desperate to talk to him, but he was also desperate to send a message to you. So there you have it. So I hope that helps you, my love. He is definitely with you. Keep going, Michelle.
Bella says,
woohoo!
A friend of mine tragically drowned 2 years ago. Is her spirit at peace, and is there any insights on how this happened?
Oh golly, it's a longer conversation. I'm looking to Grey Eagle. I'm pretty sure that this was an accident. But there's much more to the story than that. So, which we definitely don't have time here for today. But I can tell you that I know that your friend is well and happy, according to Grey Eagle, very well and very happy, and has survived. But I think there's a complicated issue around the accident and what happened. So, but unfortunately, we don't have time for this on this show. So I hope you're going to be just content to know that everything's fine. Yeah.
Twiggy has follow-ups.
Yes, Twiggy.
She says, you previously told me about twin souls splitting apart from one soul during our consult and on previous live shows.
Okay, when we're talking about twin souls, we're not talking about the soul itself splitting. We're talking about mirror souls, or souls that are a mirror of each other. We shall have a longer conversation about that, Twiggy. So email me and we'll figure it out. Yeah, keep going.
All right. The next one is from Dean.
Hey, Dean.
He's I'm not sure which site he's on, but he says, how do people from the spirit world help those in earth plane who cannot sense their presence? My son-in-law feels he will not be able to help his loved ones when he's gone.
Oh gosh. Well, it is true, Dean, that we do have to learn to listen. But our loved ones in the spirit world will often poke and prod us, or give us a little whisper in our ears, or so on and so forth. Some people are stubborn. We call it, I suppose you could call it intuition, or you just have that feeling that, you know, we talked about this earlier, turning left, turning right. You know, you're just going to have a feeling, and that feeling can come over you sometimes so strongly. If someone in the spirit world feels so strongly about it, they will try to push you to hear them, to hear what they're trying to say to you. We should talk about your, did he say son-in-law? We should talk about your son-in-law another time, just the two of us. We did have someone wanting to know, Dean, I don't know if you were on the show at the time, about consultations, and I did say if anybody wanted to mention if they'd had a consultation, how it was for them, and I know that you have, so I'm leaving that now up to you. There you go. You want to say anything about it briefly? Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
I believe his name is Mercy.
Okay. Please forgive us if we cannot pronounce your name correctly. How is it spelled?
It's Merce with the thing over it. So Mercy, right?
Mercy? Yeah.
It says, hi, Rosemary.
Hi.
Thank you for all that you do. I've had a hip replacement a week ago.
Ooh.
Will I walk without crutches, and in how long?
Yes.
Much love.
Well, even as you're asking me the question, Gregor is nodding at me, so I can absolutely say yes. Oh, bless you. That's got to be awful, and I'm so sorry. But they're amazing. They're amazing. What they can do with us. They can put all sorts of body parts into us these days, and so yes, don't worry. But also what I'd really like to do, if you don't mind, is I'd love to put you in our healing book. If Michelle is making a note of you now, we're going to put you in our healing book. We're going to send you healing, so maybe that'll give you a little extra boost. But yes, you will be doing all the things you want to do eventually. Be a little bit patient though, because you're not very patient, are you? So be a little bit patient, will you? Okay. All right, keep going. Michelle, what a job you've got. I can see all this stuff coming in.
There's lots going on.
Keep going.
Bright Star said, my son showed himself when he was about 10 years old to one of my clients in 1994. Why not to me? I sense him though. Wonder what he wants to say.
Well, maybe it was just in that moment in time that this person, he, when you say he showed himself, that's not right. Let's get rid of that myth, okay? I am absolutely sure, my darling, that your son is around you. I'm absolutely sure that he's been there for you. It's just that sometimes, especially when we're in so much grief or in so much pain, that can act as a barrier. It doesn't mean they're not there. It simply means that we're not, for whatever reason, we are not able to see them. So, so please don't ever think that he came to somebody else, but he didn't come to you. No, it's not that way at all. Our loved ones in the spirit world surround us. They are with us so often. And I absolutely know that your son has been with you and helping and guiding you the very best way he can. You just need to learn that. I think that there's so much pain with all of this that perhaps it's acting as a barrier, not for your son, but for you. So you need to find a way to relax, break through the barrier. I'm going to suggest for you as well, because I feel as if I'm plugging it now, but go to iTunes or email us. We'll send you a disc, A Journey Towards Healing. Listen to it. It'll make you more open. It will make you more aware. It will make you more centered, and it will make you more relaxed. And so therefore you'll be in that place where you're able to see, to sense, to be aware. And also remember, or for all of you out there, when somebody in the spirit world comes to us, which they do all the time, you're not necessarily going to see them with your eyes. There are lots of ways to see, to sense, to be aware. I always this song was sung to me many years ago, the Rainbow Song, and it's I'll sing a little bit of it. Red and yellow and pink and green, orange and purple and blue, and the energy that we have, the colours that surround us, the energy that's in our aura, all of those different energies manifest as different colours. You can see a rainbow, sing a rainbow, sing a rainbow too. And I can remember being sung this song years ago when I first began, saying, sing out about the energy, talk about the energy, tell about the energy. And then the rest of the song goes, it's so weird, but listen carefully. Listen with your eyes, listen with your eyes and sing everything you see. How can you possibly listen with your eyes? But we do. We have 5 senses, and our loved ones in the spirit world will come to us using at least one, if not several, of our 5 senses. This is what I'm teaching in our online classes. We're right at that point of developing our 5 senses. And so when you're listening, don't necessarily listen with your ears, just listen with every part of you. You can close your eyes and see often so much more clearly what is going on around you. So using your 5 senses, just remember, if you understand that and just relax and let that flow a little bit, you will see your son, whether with your eyes, whether with your ears, whether with your senses, whether you'll see him because you feel him there or you feel him around you, whichever way. Just, don't try too hard. Okay, let's have our next one.
Okay, it's after 12, so before everybody starts jumping off, because I know other people have lives too, let's announce our winners.
Oh, the winners of our competition. You thought I'd forgotten, didn't you? Michelle's going to announce the winners of the competition, and we shall send you your prizes in due course. I promise it's not going to be months and months and months. First of all, let's remind people that the competition was about
advice.
What is the best advice that you were ever given? And what is the best advice that you ever gave to somebody else? We had so many people enter the competition. We will be having another one. Yes, we will. We'll let you know as soon as we've worked it out. But we're going to be sending our winners at least a couple of books. We're certainly going to be sending them some a couple of the meditation CDs, and you never know what else is going to come in the package, but you're going to get some good stuff. All right, so Michelle, name the winners.
Okay, our first winner is Lorraine Ryan.
Lorraine Ryan.
Yes, so Lorraine, when you get this, make sure you email us so that we can get our package out to you.
Yes, if you listen, if you hear your name, then you do need to email us and send your address so we can send out to you. So Lorraine Ryan, yep.
And then we have Sue Doran.
Sue Doran.
We have Bella Amici. Amici Titi. I don't know.
Okay.
And then we have Eric, Mr. Daffodil Man.
Oh, Eric, you're a winner. The Daffodil Man. Yay. I'm going to send you the 4 meditations.
And then we have Chris Benevento.
Chris Benevento, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one is, and I only have the first name because they never signed their last name.
Okay.
But it's Rosin. Rosin.
Rosin. Rosin. All right. Email rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. We shall need to know your information so we can send out your prizes. Good for you. We are, as soon as we get settled, we are also going to read out the best advices that you gave or that you received. So, but we just wanted to name the winners today because we wanted you to understand. We have not forgotten you. There we are. Yeah.
We've been slamming.
Yeah. We've been so busy. So we apologize if you've been waiting. Yeah. Keep going.
Okay, so the next one is from Karen.
Yeah.
And she says, my daughter is expecting twins soon. My dad, her grandfather, just passed in June in a nursing home, and we were unable to be with him. My question is he watching over my daughter and her unborn twins?
Without a doubt. Why are you asking me a question you already know the answer to, my darling? Yes, of course he's watching. He's watching over all of you. And Grey Eagle tells me to tell you that he is so excited and so happy. Okay. We're going to do a couple more. We're going to keep going a little bit.
All right.
I got to pick my doggy up from the mutt hut. They're so nice there. Anyway, go ahead.
Betta.
Yeah.
Says, or her name is actually Elizabeth. But
Yeah.
I like Betta. So it says, hi, Rosemary.
Yeah.
Why are there people who say that there is nothing after, and I believe it's nothing after death, and others say the opposite, especially after they have left a coma? Thank you for your answer.
Well, it's I think it's Elizabetta, actually. That's what I think. Anyway, it's really, I mean, it's about beliefs and belief systems, isn't it? And it's not for us to you know, I don't care what other people believe, actually. I know what I believe. I know what I believe with my whole heart. And if you believe the same thing, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. If you're on the line and you're not quite sure, talk to me. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you my beliefs. That's wonderful. But if you're a person who doesn't believe for whatever reason, that's your right, and that's everybody's right, and it's not for me to judge, and it's not for me to try to persuade other people to believe in what I believe in. So, darling Elizabeth, stop worrying about other people. It's only important what you believe. Yeah. Did we have anything else? Couple more?
There's lots more, but we're not going to be able to get to all of them today.
You have to come in earlier.
No, it's pretty much been from the get-go.
Oh, has it? Oh, keep going then.
It says, my family has experienced such tragedy with the loss of our eldest son in a car accident, a close friend of ours to breast cancer, and then I lost my Sophie dog. This is from Ellen. She'd like to know if they are all at peace.
Ellen, first of all, I have to say the worst kind of a loss is the loss of a child. We know that, and I'm so very, very sorry for you for your loss. I'm asking Grey Eagle, how's he doing? Is he well? I'm told he's fine. I actually think that you'll be talking to him fairly soon, whether it's with me, through me, or whether it's through another medium, I'm not sure, but don't worry, because you haven't lost him in any way, shape or form, and we know that our puppies survive and are with us, and so please try not to worry. It's easy for me to say, isn't it? Try not to worry too much, because he is around you, and he'll be in touch apparently fairly soon. Yeah.
All right, the next one is from Carla.
Yeah.
And she says, hi, Rosemary and
Hi.
Michelle. I'm Carla. Talking about babies, I had a dream of a baby girl twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to know, do you see me having another baby in the future?
Oh, don't do that to me. Free will. It's your choice. Keep going.
Anouk wants to know if you are in the UK or the USA, and how do I know when you're online?
Anouk.
A-N-O-U-K.
I met an Anouk in Greece, in the Greek islands. Wouldn't be the same person, would it? Maybe, maybe not. And if it is, can you let me know? Because I'd love to hear from you. How do you know? Well, you can join our email. Email me, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. Ask to be put on our mailing list. Our routine at the moment is that we're going to every Thursday morning, and also at 11 a.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, New York time. And also Saturday mornings, we're on Saturday morning, Anouk. Story time, again, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to tell a spooky story maybe a spooky story, sort of a weird story this Saturday. Unless, of course, I change my mind between now and Saturday morning. But, I'm going to tell a good story. And but if you email us and ask to be put on the mailing list, we don't put you on unless you ask. So please ask to be put on the mailing list, and we shall send you notifications, probably about 4 or 5 a month. That's all. We don't send them out all the time, so you won't be inundated by us. So my email address is Rosemary, Rosemary, at Rosemary Altea, ALTEA.com. And if you ask to be put on the mailing list, we'll send you out an email. But we'll be doing these shows, but we'll be doing more as well. We're hoping, we're setting our sights for October. Somebody said to me yesterday, why are you waiting until October? Why not do it sooner? Well, I like to have everything in place, but we now think we've got everything pretty much in place. We are going to be doing an online seminar. If you want to know more about that'll be somewhere sort of in October. If you want to know more about that, or you want to join, then you must again email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Please put in the subject line the online, what did I just call it? Conferences.
Yes.
So put it in your subject line, what you're interested in, if you want to have more healing or what have you. We are starting a list. Al tells me there's a whole list of people. We've got a whole list of people. So as soon as we know the exact date and we have all the details for you, we shall let you know. So that'll be coming very soon, because, as I've said, we're planning our first online conference in October. We shall be then doing them on a fairly regular basis. So if you want to know more about that, once again, email me. I'll give it to you for a last time, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. We have to shut down. Is there anything else you want to say, Michelle, before we actually... I know
there's a ton of questions that we didn't get to today. If you guys would really like those questions answered, email them to me, and I'll try to put them into next week's show.
Yeah. If you don't feel frustrated because we didn't get to your question, just email the question into us, and we'll make it the first priority next week, or even on Saturday morning.
Yeah, we can do some on
Saturday. So don't think that we're ignoring. It's just that we can only get so many people, in so long. So I think, so if you want healing, if you want to know more about my books and meditation tapes and so on and so forth, if you want to know what you have to do in order to get a consultation with me, whatever it is you want to know, if you want to know more about our online conferences or my classes, and on it goes, any of the... just want to know more about me, if you want to know what I'm cooking for dinner tonight, email us, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. Please put your request in the subject line. It makes it much easier and quicker for Michelle to get to you as fast as we can. That's it. Again, all of those winners of the competition, please email, because we're not going to send out unless we have your address. That's for sure. So okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for Grey Eagle. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. We're now going to hot foot it to the Mutt Hut to get Cachorro, who's going to be so clean and fresh smelling and lovely and nice and all the rest of it. In the meantime, please, all of you out there, have a very, very blessed rest of the day. For all of my students who are out there who are enjoying not having to come to class today, having a little break, because we all need a hiatus. Don't forget, for all you students out there who are listening, you need to get in touch with Chris so that she can organise our one-on-ones and our little conferences that we're going to be having. Some of you have already got into touch with her and some of you haven't, so get on with that. And anything else, Michelle? That's it, right? That's it for today. Again, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. For those of you who are joining us on Saturday morning, we look forward to seeing you. And for those of you who are not, have a very blessed rest of the weekend. Please, all of you, just be kind, be gentle to yourself as well as to others, and have fun. That's now I've got to reach over somehow now and not put my finger on the screen to click off. And there we have it. Oops.